Microsoft PowerPoint 2007, adding content, tables, and charts. You know, text is about all that we've seen so far. I mean, yeah, we've maybe seen a couple of things, how we can make our text look kind of cool, but we need some content. I mean, there's nothing like sitting in a presentation and just reading bullet point after bullet point after bullet point. Leave that behind. Today we start with tables and charts, and throughout the CBT Nugget video series, we're going to show you how to add even more content. Pretty straightforward here as we get into more of adding content. We're going to show how to insert and format tables, insert and format charts, and we're going to take a real quick look at a new advanced feature that you can utilize with your charts. Of course, when we open up our Microsoft PowerPoint that we got right here, I've got my Acme Musical Instruments Incorporated, and as the CEO of Acme Musical Instruments, I'm trying to promote something that's going on. But of course, text, as we've said, is not going to, it's not going to cut it in today's PowerPoint world. I mean, most of you have sat through some pretty boring PowerPoint presentations where it's just text and bullets. We want to add some more information, something that kind of captures the imagination. And one of the first things, especially in the business world, that you're probably going to encounter, of course, are tables and charts. So in this case, we've got my Acme Musical Instruments vision thing, and I've got some statements here, and we're going to be talking about our implement. We got our marketing plans, and then right down here you'll notice something. We got our school instrument rentals. Now let's say what I want to do is actually show some pricing and sort of what I want to do. Well, one of the best ways to do that, of course, is to use a table, right? So what we can do is with anything that you've probably noticed throughout the Office 2007 CBT Nugget series, whether it's with Emily in Excel, me in Word and Outlook, is that you've got your ribbon here, and anytime you want to insert something, you're going to go over to the tab here for Insert, and here's where you're going to find a lot of your things you're going to insert. Well, no surprises here. Look what's over here. Tables. Exactly. And this is where we can go ahead and create this table that's in here. Now, under school instrument rentals, I already have my bullet, and I said a guitar is an economical instrument to rent. Maybe that's a point I wanted to make, and so we'll leave that. But now, I need to be able to insert a table. Well, how do I do that? Well, you come over here, and you click on the table. Now, when you click on the down arrow, you're going to notice something. You're given then the option to then click and drag and create your table on the fly, and you notice it just follows along going, oh, this is what you want to do. You can skip that and go right here to Insert Table, or you can even draw a table where you draw the borders of the table here, and then it fills it in with appropriate amount of cells within that table. So that's kind of cool. And then, of course, you can do an Excel spreadsheet, which means it'll go out and say, okay, what Excel spreadsheet do you want to utilize? So if you do that, it's going to go out and it's going to say, all right, now I'm creating an actual Excel spreadsheet. Look at this. Whole thing. I mean, it's kind of small here, and you can kind of see it, but if I expand it out, you can kind of see. I've actually added Excel right here within my PowerPoint presentation. And then look at this. You gotta love it. See this? This is actually Excel ribbon. This is an Excel ribbon right here that's set up and ready to go, and you can start utilizing your data and your formulas. And so, again, go ahead and review the CBT Nugget series on Excel 2007 if you want to learn all the stuff that you can do that. Emily does a great job. But in our case, we don't need something this powerful. So I'm going to go ahead and select. If you select off of it, it'll then go away, and it'll show you just the table form of that spreadsheet. And of course, if you want to go back, you just double-click, and it brings you back to the Excel portion of it. Now, of course, if you just go ahead and click Delete on anything right now, it's just going to say there's nothing there. So what you're going to have to do instead is once you get right here, you right-click on it, and then, of course, you can take the worksheet object, you can edit, you can open it, you can send it and do anything like that, or you can just merely click the Delete key, which I just did. I hit Delete once it was in that form, and it just removed it completely. Now, we said, okay, that's cool, that's Excel. Just wanted to show you that one. Then you also have, of course, just the standard tables, which if you're just going to input a little bit of information, that's great. Of course, if you did have a big, huge table that you created in Excel, you could import that as an object and drop it here, and you can even link to that data. We'll show you that in some of the advanced features here in our CBT Nuggets on PowerPoint. Here we're going to go ahead and insert a table. I'm going to draw it. This is usually the easy way. So I want the name of the instrument for school instruments, maybe a school pricing and then a regular pricing, just to kind of show how that works. So I click, and I can go down here. By the way, if you want more, you click and drag, and it'll actually move right there. So I'm going to go ahead and go 3 by, let's go 3 by 5. So I go ahead and let go, and bada bing, bada boom, there it is. Now notice, it drops it pretty much right here in the middle of the slide. It's over this. Well, no worries. If you want to move any object, you just simply take your mouse, roll over until you see that little 4 arrows, click, and you can drag it and place it wherever you want. Now, as soon as I created this table, what happens? Yeah, that's right. This is Office 2007, even though it's PowerPoint, and you still get that instant add of another tool set anytime you create something. In this case, table tools. You have design and you have layout, and you can switch between the two here anytime you're going to make a change to this object. Now, with this, right now it's saying, okay, we've got a built-in table style that we put in. It's called the medium style to accent 1. And what that does is it gives me a kind of a highlighted header row, and then it alternates colors down below here to kind of identify the rows. Now that's pretty cool. That actually helps you a little bit, but if you're not happy with this design or you don't feel it fits the look and feel, all you need to do is you can move over here and go down the different styles. You could do something like this, a medium style accent 5, you can do the accent 4, whatever it is that you want to do. And of course you have many different styles of these that you can choose from, and these of course are available just at a click of a button. You know, pick the one that makes the most sense for you. This one kind of looks pretty good, but notice it removes the lines, and you know, is that really what you want to do? Well, that's okay, because all you need to do is take this, click on it, and then once you've changed the style, you can come in here and you can change the way that the borders look like. Right now the borders are set up with the pen style, where they're at. You can also change this and say I want all borders, and by doing that, that will change it or turn it on, off, no borders. You can do a lot of different things here to manipulate the look and feel of your particular table, right? And that's pretty simple. Now you can also come over here to layout. Let's say I say, oh no, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, but that only gives me room for 4 instruments and I need another row. Well, how do I do that? Well, that's going to be under the layout. So I come over here to layout, and here is where you're going to be able to do things with the actual layout of the table itself, which means you can add rows and columns, you can merge cells together, you can change the text direction within the cell, you can change the cell margins, which means that literally even within each one of these cells, you have a little margin, just like you have margins on your Word documents where if it reaches that margin, it will text wrap. You can change that as well with the cell margins. You can say, well, where does the text appear? Well, does it align to the top? Does it go to the middle? Does it align to the bottom? Is it centered? Is it right justified, left justified? What do you want to do? You can do all that. You can also change the table size itself. Right now, this is an exact 2.03 inches by 6.67. You can lock the aspect ratio if you want, so it always remains the same. The height and width will change in proportion to each other. So these are all the things that deal with layout. So remember, design is kind of the look. Layout is kind of the content, or the, for lack of a better term, the guts of your your actual table. So in this case, I can come over here and let's say I want to put in instrument type, and then I want to go ahead and put, this will be school pricing, and then I hit tab. That's all I'm doing. You can hit tab or use your arrow keys to move between cells, and I'll say regular pricing. So now I've added the fonts here and everything, and so if I click off it, this is what your table is going to look like in the middle of your presentation. To edit it, again, you just click in it and it changes, and you can see it outlines the table right here. And so now I'm going to go ahead and say something like, well, we have tubas. I'll use the down arrow. We got clarinets, and we've got trumpets, and then we've got trombones. Now remember, I said I wanted to add another column because I forgot that one of them is a guitarre, which is the guitar. How do I do that? Well, you can go anywhere on the table, and in this case we want to insert a row. You can insert a row above or you can insert a row below. So you can choose where this new row goes. So if I wanted to say, well, I want the guitar to be first, I can click here on tubas and say I want to insert a row above this tuba row. So all I do is click insert above, and boom, there it is. It's inserted that other row with 3 columns right above tubas. And now I can put in guitarre. So we're set up and ready to go. So now we can say, all right, we now have our school pricing, and I can put in some dollars. We can say that your guitar is going to be $25 per month for school pricing. Regular pricing, it's going to be $40 per month. Tubas are going to be $40 per month. And then over here under regular pricing, it's going to be $65 per month. And so again, you're now just clicking anywhere within this table, and on these cells, you are now able to come in here and then input whatever data, and then it looks really good. Now, again, if you want to change any of the fonts or anything like that, you simply can just highlight the text itself like this, come over here to Home on your ribbon, and right now it's using Tahoma because according to this design template, you use Tahoma at 18 point bold with, these particular things. That's the way it is. Well, let's say I want to change this one. Instead of using Tahoma, because here's the theme fonts for this particular one, I can come down here and say, you know what, I like Arial Black. So I click on Arial Black, and now it shows up as Arial Black instead. You notice it only affected the cells that I highlighted. It didn't affect the rest of the table. And if I say to myself, well, you know what, this is kind of a little light and I can't really see it, I need to really highlight it a little bit, you can take your cells, of course, highlight them, come back here to your table tools under your design, right? And see right here under the fills, the shading, I can go ahead and say, well, no, I want to use something that's a little bit darker. See, I like that blue, dark blue shading. That looks really good. Or you can change it to whatever you want. That's the one that we're using, I think, one of these over here. You can use a different blue. You can use standard colors. You can use the yellow, the blues, the greens, whatever it is that you want to do. Purple. Yeah, purple's a good color. We'll go ahead and stick with the purple. Now, look at that, how I've changed it. Now it really snaps out, doesn't it? Instrument type, school pricing, regular pricing. And if I want to resize my table, again, if I select anywhere in here, you'll notice your anchor points here. Whenever I roll my mouse over here, it turns to that kind of diagonal arrows, or the horizontal arrows, or the vertical arrows. This allows me to resize my table. I can go down here and say, well, I want to make it a little bit bigger. And then, of course, when I want to move it, I just move the mouse over the table until it turns to those 4 arrows saying you can move it any which direction that you want, and we'll just place it right about here. And now that, look, it's right underneath there. I select off. Look at that. Isn't that a much better slide now? It's not just text on a page. I do have one bullet that I have right here, but then I have my nice table with my instrument type, school pricing, regular pricing, and then underneath I have my particular instruments and the pricing that I want. So now it's going to be easy for someone watching my presentation to kind of take a look at, oh, hey, this is how in our vision for Acme Musical Instruments we're going to build up our school instrument rental program, and this is the money that's going to be coming in each and every month. The next thing we might want to do, though, is now that we have our school instrument rentals, is we'll want to go ahead and show where these might be used. I mean, there's many different types of schools. So what I can do is go ahead and insert a new slide right here. So we'll go ahead and insert the new slide. And it's going to come down here and say, all right, you can click to add the title, you can click to add the text, and this is what I love. Notice you have content buttons already built in here, so we can use an insert chart, which we're going to show you in just a second. So I go ahead and click on the title, and we'll say Instrument by School. Okay, or instrument, probably easier to say instrument types by school. Okay, so now I've got my title, And then, of course, if I want, I can add the bulleted text there if I want, or just say, nah, I don't really want to do it. Now, there's two ways that we can insert a chart. I can insert a chart right here. I can come up here and insert a chart as well. So these are the two different ways that we can do it. Now, just understand, when you insert a chart into an Office 2007 product, whether like it was when you saw in Excel, whether you see it here in PowerPoint or in Word, you'll notice that you don't not only get the chart, but you also get what is known as the data sheet. And the data sheet is what you're going to use to fill in the information that the chart can then utilize, because it basically refers to that data sheet information. So just to show you how cool it is, we'll go ahead and click an Insert Chart right here. Now, it's going to say, what type of chart do you want? Now, this is nice because on the old 2003 version, it would actually just automatically give you the column bar chart, and that was it. And then you had to kind of fill it in. Here, that actually asks you before you insert it what you want. And there are so many different types. You can do pie charts, you can do bar charts, you can do area charts, XY scattergrams. And you'll notice a lot of these are the same ones that you have access to, whether you're using Word 2007, whether you're using Excel 2007. These are all available to you. Well, pretty much the easiest one I find is a column. I'll just use that as a pretty basic one, and we'll go ahead and just use your basic clustered column, which is what we have here. We'll go ahead and click OK, and now it's going to go out and it's go doo-doo-doo-doo, and it's going to bring up, as always, because we are using the Office 2007 products, it's going to open up a little Excel spreadsheet for your chart. Now, you might say, well, wait a minute, Chris. I was working on PowerPoint. Where is it? Well, look down here. It's still there. If you click on it, hey, look, there's the chart. But in order to get the instrument types by school, you have to come back over here and actually work on the actual thing. So what we can do is we can say the Series 1 is going to be, let's see, what are we going to do? We'll do elementary school. Then I'll use my tab and I'll say junior high school or middle school, as some of you call it. And then, of course, high school. And so we'll go ahead and do that. And then the instrument types. We'll say that there's brass instruments. There are wind instruments. There's percussion. And then, of course, there's stringed instruments. Those are like guitars and violins and stuff like that. Now, I'm not going to worry right now about the data, because data is data. I mean, you can put any kind of number that you want here. But I do want to show you something. Someone says, well, what about the titles and stuff? I can't see it. You can adjust things here on this particular data sheet, and it doesn't affect anything that you see right here. It still shows up the way that it's going to do that. So what I can do is when I look at this, I go, okay, here is my data. Now, if you want to resize the chart data range, in other words, if you wanted to add another column here, you would just simply click on this, and you can either add more rows or more columns. That's up to you. That's how you would do that. So, because some people say, well, I need more than 3 columns, Chris. No problem. Just, expand it out. Oh, I need more than the categories. There are 4 categories here instead of the series and the X, Y axis. Not a problem. You can change it here. And this, of course, is associated with the particular chart that you have here. So I'll go ahead and go back here and now just switch over to PowerPoint. I'm clicking right here, and you'll see that what it's done is it's went ahead and it built for me my brass, my wind, percussion, and strings based upon elementary school usage, junior high, and high school. And so look at this. I mean, when I click somewhere else, like here on instrument types by school, and I've clicked off here, this is how it's going to show up on your PowerPoint presentation. And you can say, wow, okay, now that's much more visual. And, as a visual type people, when we're looking at a PowerPoint presentation, now we can really capture the information. I can see that, guess what? That in junior high, it looks like that wind instruments are much more popular than, let's say, brass, percussion, and string. However, in high school, more people, because maybe the guys want to impress the girls and they want to learn how to play guitar, they're going to pick up more guitars, and so now you have much more guitar usage in rental there. Brass, there's more because everyone wants to be a trumpet player in elementary school. So these are different things that you might be. If I'm making a presentation, I can say, see, the numbers back me up. Look at this chart. And everyone says, ooh, you're right, Chris. The numbers do back you up. So this is just a way to utilize charts in your PowerPoint presentation to really help you, get your message across. But right now, you look at this and go, well, I'm not so sure that the look and feel of this is pretty good. Well, no worries. Notice under here, Chart Tools. When I click on Chart Tools, here's where I get my design, here's where I get my layout, and here's even where I get my format. So I can format, these are the 3 tools under my Chart Tools. So you can see the shape styles and, the different things that you're going to do. The plot area, you want to change what the vertical value axis is. Do you want to change what the legend is? This allows you to change the different pieces of your chart, the format of your chart. Whether you want to show it, you can format that selection. And so once you do that, it's going to do it just for this element. So if I click Format Selection, look at this. It says, oh, okay, this is for the legend. Check this out. Do you want the legend at the top? Put it over here. Let me move it so you can see. Do you want it at the top? Do you want it on the right? Do you want it on the left? You can't see it because it's blocked. Do you want it on the bottom? Do you want it on the top right? How do you want this to show up? Well, in this case, I think the right is pretty good. That kind of shows up which one is which. So you can do that. Now, you can also say, well, what do you want? Do you want fill color? Right now, it automatically, you can do a solid fill, and it'll fill it with a color. And then you can change the transparency. Ooh. And notice, again, because this is Office 2007, real-time preview. Love it. So we can see how that works. And I can say, well, that color just doesn't do very much for me, Chris. So I can go over here and change maybe a different color. Maybe want to add maybe a red or a yellow or, a different type of color. Maybe a dark blue, so that it kind of pops out just a little bit more. And I want less of a transparency, so I'll drop it back just a little bit like that. Okay, so now I do it. I can do gradient fills, and it'll do the linear and all that. So you got so many different things you can do, and this is just on the legend. Understand, I can do this for all these. So I click Close, and now, of course, if I want to look at the element itself and say, well, I want to do the chart area. Well, the chart area is all right here, so I can do Format Selection, and I'll say, well, what kind do you border colors, border styles, the shadow, the 3D format, this whole area, how do you want it to look? Do you even want to have it? The type of surface or the bottom. You can say no bevel, or you can add a bevel to it. Do you want to, what do you want to do here? Change this. It's all, again, depending on what area of the chart you want to format, you can do that. So we'll close that. We can do the actual, the series. We can say elementary. Notice it highlights the actual elementary series. And if you want to format that selection, no problem. Do you want it overlapping? Do you want it separated? Notice how I did that, and now it moves them together. There's so much you can do here. So don't think that you just throw a chart up and then you don't do any, then just leave it that way. No, tweak it as much as you want. Change things. What is the fill do you want? It's automatic. Do you want to use a gradient fill on it? Do you want to use a solid fill and change the colors? Now I want to use more of a red color for that one. Elementary is red. And, again, change the transparency if you want. There are many things beyond the scope. I could spend an hour and a half showing you all the little things that you can tweak within your chart. Just understand, pick what you want. Right here under Format, choose the value that you want, and then you format that particular selection. And if you want, you can always reset it, and it will bring it all back to the match style. If you want to change the layout, do you want the axes? Do you want the primary to do not display the axis? Do you want to show the left to right axis? Show it without the labeling. So if you do that, boom, no labeling down there. Or you can say, well, no. I do want to show, do not display the axis. Oh, no, I want to do this. You can change, different things all just merely by coming right here, doing this left to right. Boom, right there. So you can make all these changes here basically on your x-axis here, or the horizontal. The vertical you can change. You have the primary vertical. You can not display it. You can show it millions, thousands, so you can scale this any way you want. Logarithm scale, you can get more options right here. And then, of course, the legend itself, remember the labels? You can turn it off. You can show it at the right, the top, all the things. You can even overlay it so it shows up and it kind of shows you how that works. The axis titles themselves. Do you want to give the chart a title? You can do that. Centered overlay title. When you do that, there it is. And so then you just come in here and you select the chart and you can say this is instrument usage by school. Boom. Just like that. And so now it appears. So this is how we can do it. Now remember, if you need to change any of the things, you can select things within it as well, and you'll notice that it's changing the series over here, and then you can do whatever the format for that selection. You can right-click on it. You can change the series chart date. You can add data labels, which will then actually give you the numbers on it. Now you know that's 2.5, 4.3, 3.5. Your mileage may vary depending on what you want to do, but I got to tell you something. Charts are important, and they're going to really help make your presentation stand out. Now, a couple of real quick advanced features I want to show to you. Well, one is not advanced, it's just standard. You might say to yourself, well, Chris, so far you haven't shown me how if I want to change the type of chart. How do you do that? Well, that's over here under Design. You click on Design, and over here you change the chart type. Remember, they ask you before you put it on, hey, what do you want to do? But if you decide, I don't like that, well, you just click Change Chart Type, and then, of course, you can either scroll down through all of the ones that are listed here, or then select from here on the side. You can choose templates that have been saved that you've created either with other programs or uploaded. In this case, let's say you want to go to a pie and you want to change it to an exploded pie in 3D. Oh, that sounds good. Nothing like exploded pie, right? Click OK, and then it will change the chart type. Now, just understand, different chart types might not give you the data or show the data the way that you need it, depending on what type of data. That's why it takes a little bit of kind of trial and error for certain parts of us. And of course, you can also change and edit the data so it reflects more exactly what's going on here. You can switch the rows, columns, select which data appears. You can do quick layouts and things like that. Or if you say, oh, Chris, this is not what I want. What do I do? Yeah, no problem. Just go to Change Chart Type and maybe go back to something like a 3D, bars, and you can do that. Look at that. Isn't that cool? And it's like, ooh, 3D. And you can show the information any way you want just by, again, clicking Change Chart Type, selecting the one you want, click OK, and it brings it back. Now, one thing you might want to do, it's kind of something cool, is also over here under Layout, for you smart brainiac statistical types, you'll notice that you have the capability of running analysis. And part of the reason why is the integration of some of the things that Excel can do in your Office products. Well, of course, PowerPoint's just tapping. That's the thing. That's how Office works, Office products. They tap into the programs or the pieces that the other ones use, and they can utilize it as well. In this case, let's say you want to do an analysis. You can do a couple of things. Trend line bars. You can't kind of see it over here to the side. Error bars. But let's say I want to add a trend line. Maybe I want to do a linear trend line for selected chart series, or a 2-period, moving average, or more options. I mean, all right, well, let's do a linear forecast, and let's add it based on junior high, and we click OK. Well, look what it does. It says, all right, this is what the trend kind of looks like here. It's going down for the elementary school or junior high. Okay, well, that's nice. Those are just things that we can, take a look at and add. This is a little bit more advanced, but I did want to show it to you because for many people that are trying to do some really cool work with PowerPoint and also the Excel, you can now, of course, update that information and you can show this analysis. You don't have to take it into create a JPEG, go into Photoshop and add some of this stuff and then bring it back out. You can do it within the Office products themselves. In the world of business, tables and charts make a big impact when you're doing a presentation. So we first off took a look at how we insert our tables, and we have several different ways, including actually inserting a live Excel spreadsheet that you can edit and then utilize the table functionality to kind of show that information. So you get some pretty cool stuff there. Then you saw how we formatted our tables. If you want to change the colors, the fonts, add rows, add columns, whatever you need to do. Then we moved over into the world of charts. If tables are interesting, charts are, they're exponentially even better because you can actually see pictures, and we like to see the picture of a bar column or a pie chart. We saw how we can format them, change some things, the colors, the looks, the feel. I mean, it's very granular. You can drill down to the actual whether you want to add transparency to that one particular piece of the bar chart. I mean, that's pretty cool. And then we saw, as part of that kind of more advanced features, also the ability to show some analysis within your charts, whether it's doing an error with standard deviations, trend lines, things like that. That's something you can now do with PowerPoint 2007. I hope this has been informative for you, and I'd like to thank you for viewing.